Is that injury update ahead of the game?
It's going to be the same squad as Aberdeen on Sunday, so thankfully that's the case, no more injuries, so looking forward to the game and see what team I decide to go with.
How important is it, you spoke about your relief at the end of the whole run, how important to sign off with a victory and leave the fans with something at the end of the season? Yeah,
last home game it is important that we put a performance, but the most important thing is that we get the 3 points. Look, Sunday it was important because I was sick of hearing people going on about how long, but rightfully so, because it was far too long without a win. So we got that 3 points, thoroughly deserved, with a really good second half performance, and now we need to carry that obviously into the game against Dundee United.
I'm sure you're fed up answering similar questions about your future in the job, but has there been any movement? We see reports linking other men to the manager's job this morning. Have you been given any update?
Yeah, well, there's always going to be speculation. In terms of the update on myself, look, that is going to remain private, but I'm sure you'll see over the course of the next few days. Hopefully there's going to be a bit of movement, because I've mentioned a number of times it has to get moving in terms of who's going to be the manager, because you've got pre-season coming up, and there's players out of contract, players going back on loan, etc, etc, etc. So hopefully in the next few days we'll be clear on what's going to be happening.
Sorry, do you expect this to be your last game at Ibrox?
Like, you never know. Look, what I need to do is I need to remain as professional as possible, and that's what I'll always do. That's what I've done since the first day I stepped into the training centre, was always be professional, make sure that my teams or my players are professional, and that's what I'll continue to do.
Barry, can you do it?
Who's going on here?
Sorry, Barry, can you show us who you had a conversation with in terms of what happens next week?
I never say that. You know, I said a couple of weeks ago I had a conversation. If I've had a conversation since, I'd just rather keep that private. But I'm sure, as I said, over the coming days, or certainly in the next week, I'm sure you'll see something move forward.
Is it difficult for you with the players? You know, there's some players out of contract and they're feeling the uncertainty of what you can tell them?
Yeah, listen, I've got to understand that as well. It is difficult for the players, but again, I've got to be fair to the players. They've been really professional. That's all I can keep drumming into them. Of course, it's difficult for everybody, not just the players, the staff round about the training centre at Ibrox, and most importantly the supporters. But look, things are starting to move. That's the most important thing.
Do you now have the clarity you were looking for,
About
yourself?
Clarity in terms of what?
What's happening with yourself?
There's not been any discussions in terms of what's going to be happening with myself. What I do know is things are starting to move, and hopefully, as I said, over the coming days or weeks, we'll be really clear on what way the club's going to move forward.
Barry, a name that's been linked with the club, the managerial position, is Davide Ancelotti. Is that a name that you've heard of? You had any discussion?
I don't know anything about him. If I'm being honest, I know his dad, his assistant to his dad. What I know is his dad's one of the best managers. But look, there's always going to be speculation. There's been speculation since I've come in. I've no issue with that. That's just the way it operates up here in the west of Scotland. As I say, all I can do is just focus on me doing the job as best as I can, and we'll see where it takes us.
You've said a few times that you've been in this club now, in this role for a month or two. You've obviously kept such a keen eye on the club over the years. You know what this club needs. Do you think that it is a role that is for a more experienced manager, or could a novice manager be successful, like we saw with Stephen Gerrard a few years ago?
Yeah, so you're saying I'm a novice, basically, without saying I'm... I could handle the job, that's what I'm saying to you. I could handle the job, no problem. But in terms of, I get everybody's got their opinion on who's they're wanting for the job or who's going to get the job. I have no issues with that. But what I'm saying to you, and what I've said to everybody in here, this job doesn't scare me one single bit, because I know there's a hell of a lot of work to be done. I've been lucky enough to be in the door and know what's needed, and I've always been clear on that.
There's been some top names, obviously, and a lot of the latest one, Barry, but would you back yourself against any of them to do the job that's required of you?
Yeah, of course. I always back myself.
Barry, presidents and prime ministers quite often will leave a note on their desk for those who's going to follow them. If it's not going to be you getting the job, what would your note on the desk say about this squad?
About the squad in general. Look, whoever gets the job, whether it's me or somebody else, I've said for day one, I'll always support them. This is my club. It's been a proud few months for me, but if I don't get the job, I'll still be at Ibrox next year, and I'll still be supporting the club and whoever's in the dugout.
But would you say that a key component for managing Rangers is that somebody you have, whoever that is, whether it's yourself or somebody else, you have to grasp the meaning of this club to the supporters and what it means to be at Rangers, and the thing is that they be on the end of it. It can't just be somebody that's here as a project. It has to be something that they come here with the intention of winning.
This is built on winning, and we need to start winning. That's been the issue here, and that's clear why there's a number of managers that have lost their job over the years. So Rangers need to get back to challenging and winning trophies. That's there for everybody to see. I'm not hiding anything, and I'm sure that the changes have been made. They realise that, the supporters realise that, I certainly realise it, and it's a big job. It's a big job, but it's also a brilliant job to have. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, and hopefully now things are starting to move. We'll hopefully see soon what's going to happen.
What kind of period of grace do you think the new owners will get next year in terms of how long do you think it will?
Well, one thing I will say is it's not a project. You need to start winning straight away. That's it. You don't get time here. You're in terms of you've got the summer to go and build a new squad, whatever way you want to build it. But you need to go off to a very fast start, and you need to make sure you win as many games as possible.
From the conversations you've had, do you think the people that will be in charge next season, do they understand that need to win next season?
Yeah, they of course they understand. They'd be crazy not to understand, because, as I mentioned before, it's been far too long that Rangers have not been challenging. A trophy here and there, let's be honest, it's not good enough. It needs to be winning. You need to be winning trophies every single season. I'm talking about whether it's doubles or whether it's trebles. You need to be at least challenging, but we're not challenging for that. So that certainly needs to change.
Right. Do you feel under your leadership this squad has taken a step closer to kind of re-challenging again, or is it going to take a whole summer looking at the job?
Yeah, it's going to take a bit of time in terms of, I've just mentioned, maybe I sound like I'm contradicting myself, but you need a pre-season to go and build on what way you're going to go forward. I come in a difficult period where I've had to change the system a number of times, but to be fair to the players, they've got used to that. But the group of players understand that it's not been good enough this year and we need to improve, and there is going to be a lot of changes. That's just the way it is, not just at Rangers, but a lot of clubs will make changes. So it's going to be a very, very interesting number of weeks leading into pre-season.
Last couple guys.
Is the job being bigger and tougher than even you thought?
No, I expected it to be this way. Look, I'd be a fool if I didn't. If I thought I was going to come in here and it would be all. It would be easy. I knew it wouldn't be easy. I was at every single game, most games, should I say that? So I missed a couple, but I knew the challenge of it. Has it been as good as I would have liked it? No, it's not. But I've faced a few challenges within that. But I think we've dealt with the challenges pretty well. If you look back on when you suffer a defeat, it's how my team react. If you go back to the first game I had at Kilmarnock, it wasn't great the first 20-30 minutes. We come back, we win that game. The following game after that against Motherwell deserved to win the game. And then you have to go and try something different against a very strong Fenerbahce team. So we've shown that we can go, I've shown as a manager, and my staff have shown that we can go and work with a team over a short period of time to try and get good results, but it needs to be on a more consistent basis. I totally understand that, and I think whoever comes in, or whoever it's going to be, has to understand that as well.
Barry said earlier that, whoever it is,
just needs to hit the ground running. Whoever is the new manager will need to be significant squad changes, some
Yeah, there's always going to be squad changes.
significant.
Yeah, there needs to be changes. There has to be changes. That's the case because it's obvious there's some players going to be out of contract. Loanees are going to be going back. Players are going into the final year of their contract. Some players may want to leave because maybe they're not getting enough game time. So yeah, that's going to be the case. That there's certainly going to be, or there has to be, a number of changes.
And are these guys just in limbo just now until the ownership is sorted?
I wouldn't say that they're in limbo. They're just. It's like everybody. They just want to know what's going to be happening. But I'm sure over the course of the next few days, or certainly within the next week, you'll hopefully see what way the club's going to be going.
As for Mark, Barry, when you came in, there were a few eyebrows raised at kind of lack of involvement with top flight club for a number of years. But in terms of your the challenge that you faced tactically, you mentioned Fenerbahce or other games in Europe was up against a very strong Celtic team. How has that been for you and the managerial team? The test that you faced, does that feel good to have come through that? I mean, there's been a few ups and downs, but generally the performances have been pretty good.
Yeah, well, I kind of find because I'm probably Scottish and so is my staff. If it was somebody from a different country, I think they would have got a bit more respect. But look, I know I've been up here for many years, I know how it operates in the west of Scotland. But I knew when I took the job that I could make a difference. Has it been the way that I wanted it to go? It's not been perfect. I get that, understand that. But I think I've done okay, I can do better. But if you give me the tools to go and do that, I know I'd be a success.
You're a proud man, Barry, you know this club inside out. Does it hurt the prospect of, or the idea of somebody else coming in for the job also to the dream like yourself?
No, I'm totally comfortable. But if you're asking me, I know I can do the job, but if somebody else gets the job, I'll still support them and I'll still get behind them from a distance. I'll go back. People are asking what's going to happen. I'll go back to hopefully my role I had before. And will it hurt me? No, I'll be disappointed. I'd be lying if I'm sitting here and saying otherwise. Yeah, I'll be disappointed. But you know what? I'm a big boy. I'll get on with it and I'll move on. And as I said, whoever's in the job, I hope gets the full support of everybody. Because, as I said, this club's not been successful enough for a number of years, and now what an opportunity you have to go and bring that success back.
Okay, thanks guys.